Take 379,955. All right, that's probably an exaggeration, but I have started this thing. First, I went up and did some album shopping up in the Highlands yesterday. And I'm clearly in Louisville, Kentucky, and talking about the Highlands in Louisville, Kentucky. I can't tell you how many times I've had to restart this video because I said the Highlands of Scotland. Partly, partly because I'm distracted by this little fur ball down here. I don't know if we can do this or not. Hi, Aretha. Oh, let's see if I can get you back. All right. Anyway, and that little fur ball has been distracting me on all the other takes. So let's show you this pile of CDs and records that I got. But I'm telling you now, it's a genre jumping excursion. My tastes are all over the place, as anybody who watches this channel knows. And yesterday, my buying reflected it. So let's get right into it. This first CD, I thought I had picked up. There was a Robert Randolph CD that I didn't know about till I got a closer look, and it's not Robert Randolph. It's Robert Robertson. Robert Robertson and Henry Wines, From the Heart. Now, I'm so glad I picked this album up, or this CD up. It looks to be a gospel. It is a gospel album. This is Robert Robertson, and this is Henry Wines. And Robert Robertson has a great voice. Man, does he have a great voice. That's kind of the booklet here. This is from like 94. And I don't know. I did look on Amazon. He's got a few albums out. But this is a mixture. It's a little gospel, black gospel. It's a little jazz. It's some of it borderlines almost classical presentation, and it's a good CD. So I might be looking for more from Robert Robertson. What? Won't Jake play with you? Okay, so then I also picked up this Ozzy CD, Down to Earth. Don't know much about it, but it's one I didn't have, so working on my Ozzy collection. Picked up some Bad English. Oop. I picked up one of their other albums or CDs the other week. This is Backlash. So I grabbed it. I don't know if you can see the track listing on there or not. Then I picked up this Chicken Foot. And I thought, man, at first I thought this is kind of a beat up copy, isn't it? But I think that's for effect. So I don't know what effect they were going for, but of course I like Sammy Hagar. I like Joe Satriani. And I didn't have this one, so I grabbed it. I picked up this copy. You tried to slap that out of my hands. What is up? Anyway, I picked up this copy of Riders in the Sky. This is Davy Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier. This is kind of Western music, maybe not quite Western swing, but or Texas swing, but kind of close to that. I saw these guys at the Grand Ole Opry back in October when I went up to see Russ sing there, Russ Taff. So Riders in the Sky, Davy Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier. So looking forward to that. I told you we were going to be all over the place. I already shown you Ozzy Osbourne and Riders in the Sky. All right. So this next one is going to, well, it won't surprise. I just sent them an email, so it won't surprise them. So Steve at Value Vinyl showed this on vinyl. Illustrator. This is just Illustrator. It's on Ocean Records, which was a short-lived Christian label. Very pop. I'd call this a pop album. I kind of went through it quickly just to refresh my mind because I had this on cassette back in the day. And I don't think I heard the first guitar solo until the last song. So, I mean, it's not a rocking album. I'm still glad to have it, but it is a mellow album. Now, this one I put in for a minute, and it seemed like this is their follow-up. Illustrator Somewhere in the World. And it is their follow-up, and it seemed like they learned something. Because that first album probably would have done well if it just had some more upbeat stuff on it. And this sounded a little bit more upbeat. I still don't know if I'd call this a rocking album, but it rocks more than the first one. So I was happy to pick those two up. Like I said, I'm a geek for all that kind of 80s Christian rock and pop and all that stuff, So those were the CDs that I picked up. Now let's get into the vinyl. The first little section here is all dollar vinyl. First 4 albums. I've seen this shown on, speaking of Value Vinyl, Steve over at Value Vinyl. I've seen him show this group. I don't know if he showed this album or not. This is Jerry Murad's Harmonicats. With a name like Harmonicats, you knew I had to pick it up for $1. This is great love songs from the movies. There's the back. Nothing special, but this is on Columbia Harmony, a product of Columbia Records. Vinyl looks pretty good. Just looks like it needs to be cleaned up, but Harmonicats, yeah, I was going to give that a whirl. And then Brent Lamb, this is a Christian artist. This is one man. Can't tell you much about it. But it is. And here he is on the back. First of all, how about that hair and mustache, mullet and mustache? That's a winning combination. That's a winning combination. But it's on, I don't know much about it, but it's on Power Disc, which is a label that DeGarmo and Key were on. So, I'm going to give it a try. This is a 1986 release. You trying to start something this morning, young lady? She is fired up. Jake, Why don't you play with that kitten? Let her burn some of that off. All right, next one up. The Cruz family. The Cruz family is kind of like the Archers. I showed them in a video recently where I picked up an Archers album. This is this is a 1982 Christian pop rock album. I'm sorry, the fashion here. Yeah, you gotta love it. Or not. Here's the back. But the music sometimes on these albums is a little better than what you might expect, given things like fashion choices. Okay. Now, believe it or not, I found this one for 90 cents. Just about fell over. Somebody wants a fight. All right. Sammy Hagar, VOA. I was shocked to find this. And in the 99-cent pile. Really? Hagar for 99 cents? I'm jumping all over that. Yeah, there we go. There's Sammy. On Geffen. That may have been the best dollar pickup I've had in a while. And I've had some fairly decent dollar pickups. Alright, this next one costs a couple bucks. Next two cost a couple bucks each. That is Steve Perry, Street Talk. I believe this was his first solo album after Journey. I could be right or wrong about that. We got lyrics on the inner sleeve. And of course, it's on Columbia. What is going on with my light today? But yeah, love some Steve Perry. The edge on this, the edge on the cover of this is a little, but that's not a big deal to me. It's probably that darn Brian, isn't it, over at Shamrock and Records? He probably wore that out on his pants sleeve opening it. So glad to pick up that. Then got how about some Amy Grant, Age to Age. This is probably the album that sent her into the stratosphere. Ooh, we talk about historically significant albums. This one may not get thought of in that way, but I'm pretty sure that this album, and this was released on A&M, but that could have been them doing her back issue. I don't think the A&M deal was signed until after this album, with Unguarded being, her album Unguarded being the first one that they released with the big, putting Christian music in mainstream stores, and her having, Unguarded with the 4 different covers. But this one, man, this had Sing Your Praise to the Lord and I Have Decided and songs like that. And she was so popular at that time. Between her and Russ Taff, then they managed, Word Records managed to score that deal with A&M to distribute their stuff on with an original outer sleeve, inner sleeve, whatever. It's early. It's early in the morning. Oh, there we go. Oh, this is unique. It's got the Myrrh label. I don't know if I can get the light right. You can see right above the Myrrh, it says A&M. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether this was sold in a mainstream store or a Christian bookstore. Usually, you can tell because the Christian bookstores would have the Myrrh label, and the mainstream stores would have the A&M. But they're a little bit of both. Don't know. All right, this next one costs a little bit more than a couple bucks, but not much more. And it's Brimstone and Treacle. This is the original soundtrack album featuring the Police, Sting, Go-Gos, and Squeeze. There's the back. But I do like the Police and Sting. So, and I don't know that I've ever seen this album in the wild on A&M. Looks good. Boy, I've got to get my light figured out. There you go. But yeah, I can't remember much about this album. I remember. I don't know if I've ever had this soundtrack or not. I've probably looked at it before. But pretty cool album cover. Brimstone and Treacle. And I'm probably mispronouncing that second word, but alright, this next one I'm going to have to pull out. It's kind of tight in there. It's a double album. But I was real excited to find this. This is Mason Prophet, Come and Gone. Great album cover. So, kind of folds out this way. I've looked at it online, and a lot of them have that cut right in the corner, top corner. But the cuts that I was seeing online were a lot more severe than that cut. So, yeah, that was such a tight fit that in the store I didn't even look at the vinyl, but it looks pretty good. It's on what is that? The Warner Brothers. So Mason Prophet, of course, being the band that featured, and I've talked about. You're probably tired of hearing me talk about it. Of course, featured John Michael Talbot and Terry Talbot, who are now doing Christian music. This next one is hopefully an upgrade copy. I've got a copy of this, but it crackles just a little more than what I really would want it to. This is Linda Ronstadt, Silk Purse. On Capitol. This is, I believe, her second solo album. Of course, she had a couple albums with a group called Stone Ponies. Then this one, boy, I jumped all over this. I hate one thing that you'll notice on this. I use a poly sleeve that is clear. I don't really care for these milky white ones. But some of the record stores I go to use them. This is still in the shrink. It's John Fogerty's Centerfield. And it's got the inner sleeve and on Warner Brothers. So that's John Fogerty, Centerfield. I've really been digging his music lately. This next album is just really a plain copy, but I got such a good deal on it. I paid $7, and it's beat up. I'm not gonna lie, the cover's fairly beat up, Um, but the vinyl is good. In fact, there was only one side that had kind of a mark that I was a little worried about, but I had them play it in the store and it played fine. So it is Kiss Alive 2. As you can see, it's kind of beat. But until I can get, think I eventually want to get repressings of these. But as cheap as that was, it gives me a plain copy. Um, until I can get repressings. There you go on that Casablanca record. You can see the vinyl looks good. And like I said, it was only $7, so that gives me that. This next one, this was one that I was at Funhouse Records when I got these last couple, and this was the big one I found at Funhouse. And you're going to say, what? It's People. I Love You. And you're thinking, Dale, have you gone nuts? Are you starting to show psych records now? Well, this gentleman right here, that is Larry Norman. And that is why my eyes popped open when I saw this. This is Larry Norman before he went solo. This is, what year is this? I don't know. But this has a couple of songs like I Love You, subtitled What We Need Is a Lot More Jesus and a Lot Less Rock and Roll. Then side two is the epic written by Larry Norman and Denny Fritkin. So I'm expecting this to be an interesting album. So yeah, pre-solo Larry Norman on Capitol Records. So I snagged that one. Still got two more to show you. Oh wow, we are going long this video. Got a lot to show though. Then we got Jimmy Smith, Respect. Love those pictures of him kung fu fighting. Jake didn't think they were anything special. He could probably take them. But yeah. Jimmy Smith being the great jazz organist. More pictures on the back. But I love Jimmy Smith, so I wasn't going to pass. Not much on the gatefold, though. I wasn't going to pass that up, especially with him doing such a great cover for this album. It's on Verve. And then finally, so this doesn't go too long, probably already. Let's see. This is George Jones salutes Hank Williams. Sold me with that. Young George Jones doing some Hank Williams Sr. Oh, yeah, I was all aboard for that. This is on Mercury Records. Well, here we go. I'm going to have to practice with my light. And that is what I've picked up. So, hope you enjoyed that. Sorry if it seems a little scattered over here. When you got a kitten, I've noticed here lately, sometimes I am a little distracted during these videos because I don't know what she's going to do next. But she's fun. So, anyway, for me, for Jake, who is napping somewhere, and for Aretha, who is playing right at my feet, we hope you're having a great weekend, and we will see you soon.